So welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know me, I am Chloe, and today I'm going to talk through all of the books that I read in June. So I've currently read 4 books. I have 2 days left in June, and I think I'm going to try and finish a 5th. This is going to sound so ridiculous because I'm going to turn around and say I've been in a reading slump, but everyone's going to be like, you still read 5 books? I read them all near the start of the month. I think, when did I finish that one? So I finished 2 books by the 8th. It took me like a week and a half to read another book, and then it took me about 10 days to read the next book, and then since then I haven't read anything. So yeah, I've started more books in June than I've finished. I think I have like 6 books sat upstairs that I've started, but I haven't finished, or I haven't got anywhere near finishing. I'm probably like 10 pages in. I've not been here for it. I've like not been into reading this month for some reason. So yeah, it's hopefully going to be quite a short video, and let's just get right into it. So the first book I read this month was on my Kindle, and I'm going to put a picture of it here just because of showing it I don't think will work today because it's so sunny outside, so I think it will just reflect light at you. But the first book that I read this month was The Teacher by Frida McFadden. Now this book blew me away. This was my first Frida McFadden book. I've never read one of her books before, and I was shocked. I didn't know what to expect. Obviously I knew it would be about a teacher, but I had no idea what was going to come. And yeah, so there's basically this husband and this wife, and they are both teachers in the same school. They're married, all the kids know that they're married, but they don't have like the best relationship. They kind of don't see eye to eye anymore. Like, they don't really spend that much time with each other. And then there's this other teacher that right before the next school year starts loses his job because something comes out and it says that he'd been having this affair with a student, which his student says absolutely did not happen. Like, there's no way. And yeah, the teacher consequently gets fired from it because obviously wrong on so many levels, but it actually didn't happen. And then basically I need to find out what you're actually told, because I don't want to ruin it because it's such a good book and I didn't see it happening. Hang on one second. So basically I just read it, so not a lot's given away, but the student that's allegedly had this affair with the teacher that gets fired, and it's obviously this huge scandal in the school, and she finds herself in the wife's class, and the wife is like, keeps her distance from her. Like, she's very concerned that this is going to happen again with like another teacher. Specifically, she's really worried about happening with her husband. And she just doesn't trust her or anything like that. And she's quite hostile towards her as well. And just so much happens. And I think the thing I loved about this, but my brain wasn't fast enough to comprehend it. So much was going on throughout the book, and there was this person that Addie used to be friends with. They just stopped being friends one day, and like, she doesn't really know why, she doesn't really know what's going on. And there's like a really big twist at the end, and I'm like reading, and I keep reading, and I'm like, I feel like I missed something. I was like, I've definitely missed something, like something's going on right now and I don't know what it is. So I like go back and read it again, And I'm not joking, my whole face just drops. I'm like, oh my god, how did I miss this? How is this like the massive twist? I did not see it coming. What? Yeah, and I feel like as well, when I got to the end, like when I finished it, I was like, I feel like she hinted at that halfway through. Like, I feel like Frida hinted at it halfway through, and I just did not pick up on it. Like, I did not know. And I was just shocked. Genuinely, so shocked. But yeah, it's just so good. I would really recommend it, and I can't even talk about like 90% of what happens in this book because like 90% of it is spoilers. But I really recommend it. There's like huge twists at the end, and like the whole way through you're just kind of like, oh my god. And I'm kind of like, the whole way through I was on the edge of my seat, like, oh my god, what's happened? Like, who's done it? What's done? Like, what made this happen? Like, how is this happening? Who is this? And then it all gets revealed and I'm like, oh my god. I'm just so shocked. So I would really recommend. It's very good. I gave The Teacher 5 stars. It was really good and I really enjoyed it, and I did not see the twist coming, and yeah, absolutely amazing. The second book that I read this month was Heartbones by Colleen Hoover, and now this girl basically moves to live with her dad, and she's like not really known him her whole life. If anyone watched my video last month on my May reading wrap up, this gave me the Summer of Broken Rules vibes minus the game. Like, it was very similar. It just didn't have like the game aspect to it. It was kind of the same prospect though. So this girl called Bea goes to live with her dad for summer before she goes to school, and she meets this guy, and he's called Samson, and they basically like, both of them don't want a relationship. Samson's kind of a bit of a playboy, like he gets with all of the girls that are there for like the weekend, and I feel like it's kind of like that the whole way through, and then they start to kind of get together, and then something big happens, and yeah, I think and I don't think he says, but basically he turns out to be not who she thought he was, and something big happens, and she kind of waits for him, I guess, and is very loyal for someone that she's only known a few months as well. It's kind of like, you don't really know this guy, like he could be anyone. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. It was quite good. I'd say I probably would give it like 3.75 stars, maybe 4. It was really interesting, and I do remember the majority of this story. Yeah, I would recommend. I feel like I did enjoy like this book of hers quite a lot. So yeah, this was the second book that I read this month, and yeah, it was very good. It says, the quote at the top is, damaged people recognise other damaged people. It's like a club you don't want a membership to. That's so cute. But yeah, that's that one. Then the third book that I read this month, because this month was Bridgerton Part 2, Season 3 Part 2 coming out, was The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn. So this is Anthony's story. I think one thing, this is in part of like a reading vlog that I did, I don't know when that will be out, but one thing that I really recognised from this is how different the stories actually are to the series. Like, I feel like this got me through a bit of my reading slump, which is part of the video, but this got me through my reading slump because I knew the story from Bridgerton, so I was kind of like reading to see what was different, and obviously I knew the story so well, so like I was kind of like, I know where it's going to end up. So it was just kind of like a easy read, I guess. But the whole way through, kind of like the Sharmas aren't Indian in this, which I feel like adds so much to the series. Like, it's crazy that it's not in here. I'm trying to think what else. Nigel Burbrook is still mentioned in this, and he like didn't do the whole thing to Daphne that he did in season 1 in these books. So he's still like liked. I'm trying to think what else there was that really shocked me. Oh, the way that Kate and Anthony get together in this is so different. So different. And I was like, what? I was genuinely reading it like, oh my god, this is crazy. But saying that, it was very, very, very good. Really enjoyed it. I would really recommend reading the Bridgerton books. I feel like my problem is I like watching them, like reading them after the series has come out, because then I can be like, oh, this happened in the series, and I seem to remember the series more. And I'm not a huge person when it comes to like reading a book. I can't like picture the characters in my head. Like, I can't picture any of it happening. So for me, I never like, so like the whole controversy around It Ends With Us in the cast for that, I wasn't like super annoyed, because I was like, I didn't actually picture them anyway. Like, so it being Blake Lively, it didn't bother me, because I was like, I didn't picture her anyway. But yes, I feel like it helps when I read these, because I can see, I know what Anthony looks like. So I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, which is really weird. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. I need to go through the rest of the series. This did help me with my reading slump, purely because I knew what was going to happen, and it was just kind of like an easy read. I didn't rate it on here. Probably give it 4 stars. It was good. I preferred the series, so maybe a bit less, maybe like 3.5. But it was really, really, really good. I did really enjoy the story. And I think I found this one easier to get through than book 1, actually, which is weird. But yeah, anyway. Book number 3. Book number 4 was another movie, like book to movie adaptation. And that was The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I've never read the Hunger Games books, which really shocks me, because the movies I absolutely adore. I love these movies. So yeah, I saw this at work, and I was just kind of like, I feel like, again, the same thing with Bridgerton, I just need something that I know the story of. Really loved it, devoured it. And I feel like a lot of this was the same as the series, as the film. Like, I feel like they did really well in kind of making it like the film. And it was kind of good to read this, because I feel like you learn more about like their thoughts and like how they're feeling, whereas you kind of just watch it in the show, but you don't always necessarily pick up on it. Whereas this is like, they explicitly obviously say how Katniss is feeling. But I really enjoyed it. Really, really, really good book. I want to read the others now. I'm going to order them into the library and read them. I just love book and movie adaptations. Like, I love comparing them. I am 100% a Hunger Games girly. I love this series. I just need to read the rest of the books. And I haven't watched the new Hunger Games movie that came out literally months ago. I haven't watched that yet. So much. And I'm so glad we're getting Haymitch's story. I'm so excited, because Haymitch is like my favourite character ever. And I need to know what happened to him. But yeah, anyway. This was the 4th book. Technically the final book, because I haven't actually finished the next one, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, because I'm going to finish it. I didn't rate this one either. 4 stars. It was really good. Yeah, and then the final book, I don't have the sleeve on it at the minute, because the sleeves always get ruined when I read them like this. You're also going to have to ignore that I have receipts literally sticking out of it, but it's Inside Bridgerton by Shonda Rhimes and Betsy Beers. I feel like this was part of the reason that I went into a reading slump, because when I bought this, I literally thought, oh, I could read this in like a day. And I think I then went kind of into a bit of a reading slump. I'm currently on page, hang on, 194, and there are 277 pages. So I've just under 100 pages left, which is why I think I can finish it. But also, look at this, they've listed all of the cast and crew in the back. Which is crazy. But I love it because the whole way through it's like there's photos and different bits and bobs, like describing casting and costumes and everything. And I love kind of the behind the scenes. And at the time when I was reading this book, I was kind of reading this at the same time, and I remember like reading stuff and I was like, oh yeah, I remember when that happens. Like, that's why they did that. Like, it made so much sense. And like hearing how they adapted stuff and how much work actually goes into it, I feel like it's so hard because in the Bridgerton world, like, we're living with it coming out. So like the next series I think isn't coming out till like 2026, I think they said, something like that, which is such a long wait. But it makes sense, like when they talk about it here, how much time it takes to adapt all of the books to the films, like to the series, and like, yeah, it's just crazy. And obviously they've added so much in, like what happened with Nigel Burbrick, what like the Sharmas are like they've added so many things in that happens. And in the books, like Philippa and I can't remember the other Featherington sister, they don't end up with who they end up with in the show. One of them ends up with like Nigel Burbrick, and I'm like, absolutely not. But yeah, so I am going to finish this one. It is really interesting. Like I said, I've got like 100 pages, so I should be able to finish it today and tomorrow. And then that'll be 5 books for this month. But yeah, this is really interesting, especially if you love Bridgerton. Kind of just like learning about what goes on behind the scenes and how much work goes into it. I feel like it made me appreciate it so much more. So yeah, I would really recommend reading that if you can. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I am going to end it here, but it was very nice talking through all the books that I read in June, and I will see you again for one of these videos next month. Bye!